change makers, and welcome to The Core, sponsored by Red Apple EdCo. This is your everything education podcast. We talk about current events, books to read. We interview education leaders, hear their stories, learn from their biggest lessons, and they share what they wish you knew about what it means to be in education today. I'm your host, Dr. Kia Turner. Buckle up for small seeds of inspiration that can lead to big changes in your classroom practice. Let's take a bite out of today's guest.
Hi, you guys. It's Dr. Kia still here at Amplify in Kansas City, and I had to sit down, I say that about everyone, with the lovely Laina and Winston, both DC area educators who are making a huge splash, right? DC area for both of you, right?
DC area.
Yes. Okay. And this is the second year, actually, that we've run into each other at Amplify. So this year, not only am I getting a hoodie, Kaufman Foundation, I need to be on the bus in the evening to go to the fancy dinner and get the swag. But I had to definitely make sure I sat down with these two. So you guys know, in 10 minutes, free screencast if I like, we are going to get to know Winston and Laina, and then we'll end with how you can reach out to them if you want to know some more about them, keep up with them. Where can you find them? Okay? So let's get started, you two. So the first question I ask everyone is, why do you teach? And in your cases, what is it that causes you to continue in the education space? What's the battery in your back that gets you up and going to work every day doing this kind of thing?
Education is our civil rights movement. This is the work that we're doing, that our ancestors and those who came before us were fighting for other types of rights and educational rights. This is our movement right now. And so being an activist and as a middle school principal, I work with the age group that don't nobody want to work with.
I love middle school.
You either love them or you hate them.
6th to 8th graders.
Thank you.
Okay.
But this is our movement. And so this is a way for us to have a voice and for us to really work with, Black and brown children, especially for them to have their voice and learn who to be and how to be it in this society that we live in right now.
That's powerful. What about you?
Wow. So many reasons. If I had to isolate one, it would be probably because I learn the most through teaching. I become better. Teaching makes me better, makes me more reflective, makes me have to stay on my toes and think about how I design learning for myself and for others, and it just makes me a better person, the teaching process itself.
So really it's for you.
It's greedy, it's for me. It's for me. But in being for me, it also offers something of value to the world. That's my hope, at least.
That's real powerful.
Thank you.
So number two then, considering, that this is sort of your way of contributing to the world, what's one thing you're seeing in your practice right now that excites you, kind of a wave in what you're doing that you're like, bring it on, this is definitely needed? What you got?
I'll jump in on that one. So what is really powerful and poignant right now is that there's a wave, a counter wave against the era of standardized testing and rote knowledge and rote learning. And there's a return to what we know about inquiry, what we know about project-based learning and all that comes with that. And social emotional learning is also being lifted. And so in my work in the arts, coming through the vantage point of the arts, this is a real opportunity that really speaks to the strengths of our people and our students. So
I love that. Okay, so not necessarily looking at standardizing performance, but thinking instead, let's go back to what we know about student teaching and learning and kind of go back to what works and take it deeper. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
What about you?
I would say, and I think it really goes to the age group again, and why I love working with middle schoolers. This is the age where they are coming into their own, and where they are learning their voice and they're learning the ways of society. And right now, this could not, the era that we're living in right now and that we've been living in since most recent election day, they are learning how to protest and how to make change, how to have a voice and how important that is right now. And so I love having those real talk conversations with 12-year-olds that are
open enough to start to understand
exactly. And they're like, this doesn't make sense. And this is what we need to do. And I'm like, yes, and let me help you understand the ways to do that. I feel like that's my job, is to, just teach them and guide them in those directions, but let them run with it. And like, this is the perfect age, and we couldn't ask for a better teachable moment on how to have a voice and how important it is to have a critical voice in society.
Agreed. Thinking about that, God, that's so good. And I love middle school because they're so wide open.
That's right.
They know enough to know I have something to say, and they're young enough to still be guided in the expression of that thought. And that's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So then when we think about question number 3, if I'm an educator and I want to kind of amplify student voice, get back to what I know, you know what I mean, about teaching students, what's one resource that you both or each of you might recommend for me? What's one resource I need to know about as an educator to do this work?
For me, like, I've always found that resource through mentors.
Oh,
so like, and I feel like that's my push. Like, I graduated from Spelman, and we were taught, you know, you reach back and you pull someone else up once you get over that wall. And so, like, that's what I do as a principal. But, like, that's why I'm where I am, is because of mentors that I've had, that I've either, you know, sought myself or they have found me. But, like, my resources and my guidance come from those women and those men that, like, I do really look to help me get through this. And I've been in education 18 years.
Yeah.
And so, and I can name the mentors that are the reason that I'm where I am right now.
People
so it is to find a mentor. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you?
Wow, I hate to sound like repeating, but I think that we don't realize that we are our greatest resource, that our stories, and Dr. Chester spoke about this morning, is that the things that we have come to believe are deficits are actually our strengths. They're the things that make us, our stories, our defeats, our failures, our triumphs, and our trials all are so important. And we forget how it feels to be a young person. And for them, they can't ever imagine that we struggled with anything, or they can't imagine that we may come from a legacy that is mixed with struggle and triumph. And so I think just being confident enough to rely on your own narrative, your own story as a way to model for the students.
That's right. Let them know, hey, I have been there too, and you can make it through. And in that way, being a mentor and teacher for them.
For sure.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So then, number 4, what was your last aha moment as a professional? Sounds like you might have had yours today.
Right, I did too.
For sure.
Okay, so then maybe we should say, what was your big takeaway from all that you saw today then? If that was your aha, what was it?
The last keynote with
Look, it was Chris Inton. Y'all need to check my Periscope because you know I cover all of it.
Revolutionary. Like, he took us to church. He took us to school. He took us, you know, like, all around the block. He took us to the barbecue. Like, it was just, I feel like I'm at a place in my career right now where sometimes I question why I am going back in. Like, am I doing this right? Like, am I, you know, I think any good educator is constantly asking, like, am I doing this right? Because you know, you are impacting kids every single time you walk into that building. And so a lot of times, like, you doubt yourself and you question. And just what he was saying today around, like, just being real, like how he ended with, like, what kind of educator you going to be? And I felt that, like, who am I supposed to be to our kids? They see what I am, a Black woman that wears natural hair. It's so important for me to be her for my boys and my girls. And sometimes, like, I feel torn, and there are these conflicts that I'm up against around standardized tests and, you know, the things that I have to do. And it's just so important. Like, I feel like I get so much from those real conversations that I have with kids. That boy that gets in trouble, that gets sent to my office, and that real talk conversation I have with him about why he can't act like that on the street, so critical. And I felt like I got that. I was reminded of that, of why what I say and what I do is so important.
I'm going to jump in, and even though, like, I loved all of that, but I want to add that Eduardo's piece was very powerful for me today. The growth mindset presentation, this piece around the performance zone versus
30 seconds.
Performance zone and improvement zone, and how often we stay in this zone where we're not really focused on our areas of weakness, the things that we really need to anchor in or focus on. So it was food for thought, and I think that was a big aha moment for me, or a reminder about the importance of the growth mindset.
I would have to agree. And in our final 10 seconds, if anyone wants to catch up with you, do you prefer LinkedIn, both of you?
LinkedIn is good for me.
Twitter is best for me, at Winston Clive Cox.
All right.
Yes.
We made
That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to The Core. Wherever you are listening to us, be sure to like our show, subscribe, and share the episode that's meant the most to you. We appreciate every single one of our subscribers, as do our sponsors. We look forward to seeing you next week. You can also check us out on YouTube at Red Apple Edco. If you'd like to see more video of these conversations, we have them posted there.